and welcome back to my channel. This weekend I have about 35 orchids to repot. I've fallen behind, but Catasetum orchids are some of the easiest to repot because you don't need to save their roots. If you guys have been following along, you guys know that I repotted my Monurara Millennium Magic Witchcraft orchid and I removed all of the roots, and within 4 months she has a brand new root system. So what I'd like to do is do a speed repotting session. So I'm going to be repotting these 5 orchids real quick. Again, I have about 35 orchids to get through, so I figured why don't I record a video where I speed repot these orchids so you guys can follow along. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos like this. And with that said, let's get started. So I did one already, and let's see if we can get this done in 10 minutes. So I'm going to save the tags and I'm just going to cut through. I'm going to be really careful with the new growths and we're just going to go right at it. And what I did is I have all of my sphagnum moss already available and ready to go. I actually have some packing peanuts as well because I would like to add a little bit more drainage to my Catasetums. I don't want the water to sit on the bottom. I noticed that with the Monurara, I'm just going to call it Triple M. I noticed with that Catasetum that some of the orchids on the bottom were sitting in water a bit too long. They do require a lot of water when they're in active growth, but I don't want it to stay wet. I want it to dry fast. So that's why I prefer smaller pots that will dry quickly, and I can give it more water. The roots will absorb it, but it won't stay stagnant in that pot. So let's see how quickly I can get this done. Let's see if we can get this done in 10 minutes. Right now it is 10:23 and we did one. So let's see how this goes. So this is the last bit of my Catasetum orchids that are coming out of dormancy. So I will not be needing to repot anymore. This is the last bit of these, but these are honestly the easiest. I'm gonna be really careful here in case there's any roots. Nah, no roots, no new roots. It's okay if you leave a little bit there. It's not a big deal. You can anchor the orchid. Okay, we can leave this tiny bit in here, and that's it. 2. All right, we're on to the next one. So I got all of these orchids at Sunset Valley Orchids. Oh, this has 2 tags. I got all of these at Sunset Valley Orchids a couple of months ago. So I actually got a few of them for my birthday, and I got a couple more at a sale, at their end of year sale. They gave a few of them for free, which is really nice. They send you more than you expect. So Sunset Valley Orchids is a great nursery. If you guys haven't ordered from there, I highly recommend it if you're in the United States. For those of you guys in Europe, I know that you're able to buy some of Fred Clark's crosses over there, but they can be a little bit pricey, which is a bummer because these are plants, and when people charge a lot of money for plants, it's not cool. So I know I've seen a lot of his hybrids on YouTube for my friends out in Sweden and out in Spain. I've seen the Fred Clark Yara After Dark, which is nice, but I keep hearing that the prices are expensive, and that's such a bummer because they are affordable here. I wish that people just wouldn't upcharge so much for orchids. It's sort of a bummer for the hobby when you start seeing these orchids and people are overcharging. It's not right, in my opinion. But you find whatever you can in your region and do your best with it. I find in the United States we have a lot of options here. I bet in Australia there's amazing options for dendrobiums. Like I say, just find your specialty in your area. I can't imagine the UK right now with Brexit and everything. I heard that it was going to be difficult to get orchids from the other European nurseries, so that's super tough. But what I would do is I'd just trade and swap as much as possible. The orchid community is always really nice. All right, so it's 10:26, so a couple minutes have passed by. Let's see. I think I'm making sort of a mess, but I am moving pretty fast. We do have some new roots in there. Let's see. I think we're okay. There we go. Another one is done. Putting that on the side there. 2 more. All right. I'm very curious to see these bloom. Only one of them has bloomed for me so far after I received it. And it was a tigrinum. A Catasetum tigrinum with, was it this one actually? Let me see. Which orchid is this one? It was this one. This was the one that bloomed for me. You can see the spike right there. But this one was really pretty. It had very small but yet beautiful flowers. It was nice. I can't wait to see the rest of them. 10:27, so I've been at it for 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Moving pretty fast. This is probably the easiest repots you can do since you could chuck all of these roots. I have to be careful with this one because it's a little bit longer, but it'll be fine. So a lot of people have asked me why I don't grow these in leca, because I do grow in leca. And the reason for that is that these Catasetums are prone to spider mites in my environment, so I have to treat them, which whatever, it's not a big deal. I think it's just expected that these orchids have very sappy leaves that are spider mite magnets, when that's okay. But my issue is when I treat them, I like to make sure that I could turn the orchid upside down in my sink and not have to worry about leca flying all over the place. So that is why I use sphagnum moss. I literally just clean the leaves like that, run it under a hose in my sink, and then they're good to go. Leca flies all over the place, so I reserve leca for my Cattleya orchids that are not prone to spider mites. Some Phalaenopsis, which are also not prone to spider mites, but these need quite a lot of treatment, so that's why I grow them in moss. And they tend to do pretty well. Okay, so this I think is good enough. Leaving a few roots isn't going to be the end of the world, so this is done. One more. And this one is this one. I have a video of when I got these orchids. Ooh, you can see there's a new root here, and that's okay because it'll grow a whole new root system with the new growth. So I like to cut it in the middle, cut halfway around the side. I didn't even sterilize the scissors just because we're getting rid of this entire root system. I sterilized it to begin with, but I don't think it's a problem. This is all dry and we're getting rid of all these roots. I'm not maniacal about it. Hopefully there's no issue with that. This is literally like, these orchids have not been watered in so long that they don't really, I don't think there's going to be an issue. There's some people that can leave their Catasetum orchids and use the same pot and let the roots grow in, and that's fine too. So if you have room for the roots, you have a larger pot, that's okay. With me, because we're repotting from these small pots, I don't think I'll have room as they'll get larger. So a lot of these are supposed to be miniature orchids, miniature Catasetum orchids that are not supposed to get larger, but I'll say that they were larger with leaves than I expected. I'll link the video down below where I showed you when I got them. There should be 2 or 3 hauls for all of them, and then you can see the flowers in all of these orchids. But one of the hauls I got was a mini Catasetum haul. So I'm going to be careful with the roots here. As you can see, those are brand new roots. So I'm just going to cut around it. And if we leave a little bit of moss, that's okay. That'll just anchor the orchid. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. It is 10:31. These are all unpotted. I did not hit my goal of repotting them in 10 minutes, but let me grab the pots and then we'll put them in their new setup. We've got our 5 orchids. We've got our moss, which I've tried to dry out as much as possible, but it's still a little bit moist. We got a couple of 4-inch pots here. We've got some slow release fertilizer. We're going to be using half a teaspoon of these for this so that they get fed well as they get watered. And then we have some packing peanuts, which I'll add to the bottom of my pots. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to add about 3 packing peanuts to the bottom, and then we can get started. Maybe I'll add another one. Hopefully I don't, I started doing this after I noticed the root growth on the witchcraft orchid. And that's okay. So let's add, we've added a little bit here. Let's add half a teaspoon of the slow release fertilizer. I'm just going to layer it in so that it's evenly distributed. And then let's start with this one. I keep it slightly fluffy. You could probably go pretty tight with this one, but we'll see. May need a support stake. Depending on if it holds or not, but I'm not going to touch these or move these very much. But this one is done. This is Chuck Taylor is good to go. Moving on, we'll start with our packing peanuts. Keep that bottom nice and dry. Nice layer of moss over here. Half a teaspoon of slow release fertilizer layered on so that it gets it sort of everywhere. No rhyme or reason, I just think it'll be better for even distribution of the nutrients. We get our orchid in here, go around. This is going actually pretty fast. I was hoping I could do it in 10 minutes, but it's getting done fast, which is great. These orchids will grow in really nicely in this setup. All right, and this one is pretty much done. Excellent. There we go, there's another orchid. This is great. I wish all repots were this fast. But, you know, with most orchids, you have to sort of, you have to be really careful with the roots. So like if I'm doing an oncidium, that could take me a really, really long time, which is sort of a bummer. Half a teaspoon of slow release fertilizer, layer on a little bit more moss, layer in our orchid and moss. There we go. And we are moving. We are getting our spring repotting done. If you don't have to spend a lot of time on it and you have a large collection, don't. These are orchids you could pretty much fly through just because they don't need too much. They're not fussy. You could cut those roots off. They don't need too much. Boom, 3. All right, one more and then I have to get a little bit more moss. Let's get some peanuts in there. Some moss, some fertilizer, layered in. That's how we roll. And then I am gonna need a little bit more moss. Let's see if I have enough. I have a new bag right behind me. I will be right back. Back with more moss. So we're gonna add a little bit more. Here we go. We're moving pretty quickly. This is a little wobbly, but I'm literally just gonna put these in a what do you call it? Done for. I'm gonna put these in a clay pot for stability because they will get top heavy once they have more leaves on them. So we will just put them in a clay pot, not touch them. Wait until those roots are longer, and then we can move forward with watering them. Packing peanuts, moss, slow release fertilizer, layered on. Probably best that it has contact with all points of the pot. All right. Put in our orchid. This is the one that bloomed for me. Put a picture up for y'all so you could see it. Let's see. This one will probably grow pretty nicely. I hope it has more flowers next time. It's just so beautiful. And a little bit more moss. Let's see. That is it, guys. It is 10:41. I was able to repot these 5 orchids in less than 20 minutes. So we're all set and we're good to go. So basically what I did was I used some packing peanuts at the bottom for more drainage. I used relatively small pots so that these pots can dry faster. We don't want these to stay very wet. I'd rather water more often, let them get more nutrients, let them get more the moisture that they need, but I don't want them to stay soggy or those roots could get unhealthy, die, get too soggy. We've got our slow release fertilizer. We put half a teaspoon per cup because these are 4-inch pots. And then we had our moss. So we are good to go. All of these orchids have a new growth coming in. Some of them actually have 2 new growths coming in on the other batch, which is great. You want to make sure when you're repotting, I didn't pay too much attention for this one, but you want to make sure you're centered or you're making room for the growth to be in the middle. In this case, I didn't care too much. This will be just fine. It'll just grow right next to it. But if you have a larger orchid, that's more important. This bulb I don't anticipate being too huge. Anyhow, guys, I hope you liked this video. I have a lot of repotting to get through, so I figured I'd do a quick video for you guys on getting these 5 Catasetum orchids done. I will start watering them when those roots start going down towards the bottom. So we look to see for 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. Or we want to water when the back bulb gets excessively shriveled. This one is pretty shriveled, but I'll just play it by ear. If it's looking like a really sad raisin, then I'll start watering. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. Take care, everyone. Bye.